we're going to talk now about the security aspects because basically this is seen as a trigger, this being the transition to UHD, for new requirements for protection for high-value premium content, which is a function of the surge in piracy globally that has now got the attention of the content community to where they're coming up with some pretty draconian requirements. Watermarking has been a big part of that discussion, but there's some other things as well. Dave, what are you seeing as Irdeto is on top of the piracy situation globally, tabulating what's happening in real time? I've been at their facility. It's amazing to see all these screens with purloined content that looks like the real deal. What are you seeing as far as the pace of piracy?
The pace of piracy is, it's incredible, actually, and ultimately we can't quantify how much piracy is out there. You can essentially go find pirated instances and say, okay, we know that this is happening, so that's our base level, but we don't know what the global spread of piracy is. What we can look at is the number of piracy websites there are out there. And literally, out of the top 100 piracy websites, they're literally getting 16 million downloads per month coming off of those. So that is, gives you an idea of what the level of that is. But see, again, that's a minimum from our perspective. We can identify that. How much can't we identify?
And of course, with that, they're collecting money on two sides. They're charging for a subscription fee, but it's a much lower subscription fee. You go to one of these sites, and I understand from your research, you can get a whole bundle of TV services for $16 a month. But then they're also collecting advertising because it's online, and they're using the ad networks to just automatically place ads in this stuff.
And they're selling devices to get access to it.
So what is going to be done about this as this high value content emerges, where you can take it right off the screen and sell it, and as they're already doing, but now with UHD, HDR enhanced content, it's going to be even more impressive and valuable. And this is caused movie labs to come up with the watermarking requirements and these other requirements. How do you see those moving as far as the willingness of the marketplace to implement them and follow up on all the procedures that go with implementation of those?
I think the one big thing that is happening is we're seeing that our unmanaged devices that we're now getting used to consuming content on are essentially upping the ante with regards to their security. What we're really going to see is content operators are essentially going to have to target the native DRM on each one of these devices, which is going to spread us out with regards to content protection. So we're going to have to be much more focused. What we're going to be targeting, it's like, okay, Android devices will have to deliver with Widevine DRM. Windows devices, Play-Ready DRM. So we'll have to be using that as native DRM so you get the best security possible on those. The watermarking is a completely different aspect now. So the idea that you're watermarking content and it gets out into the wild, the question is how do you implement that? So if you find the content out in the wild, who's responsible for finding it, and what do you do when you actually do find it? And these are really fuzzy questions right now between the operators and their content providers in terms of how are we going to implement watermarking and exactly how do we do this.
So it's just not taking the technology and slapping it on and then saying, wow, we got it, because it's all about the forensics that are involved.
Huge policy issues associated with this.
So are you seeing any concerted efforts that point to collaborative activities across the content distributor communities to begin to deal with that follow-up on the watermarking?
No, not really. I think that realistically everybody's seeing that watermarking is getting real. We're seeing a large uptick in interest in watermarking right now because of the onslaught of UHD. What Irdeto offers as a service with regards to doing online piracy detection is a very in-depth service. The question is, what exactly is that operator asking for you? The Movie Lab specification says that watermarking is required. What does that mean? what does, I mean, we can watermark and not go detect it.
Yeah, but it also says there has to be the commitment to this enforcement side of it,
Right.
and that's where you're saying there's a real absence
Exactly.
of collaboration.
Exactly.
So what we have in some here is a marketplace that is growing intensively, focused on creating this next generation of TV experience that truly is a leap forward, analogous to SD to HD, maybe even more, but we have all the technical issues, and lagging that are the movement towards some practical means of making use of the technologies, watermarking, that allow for stemming some of the piracy. It sounds to me like the next 2 years are going to have to be an intense commitment on the part of the whole community if the licensing is going to go forward, even if we solve all the technology issues.
Yes.
That's the picture. Thank you very much.